Now, when the ancestral Puebloans had been living on tops of the mesa, they had been living in smaller family clan units. Okay? And they'd moved in here for the first time living in mass. Maybe over 200 people living in Cliff Palace at any one time. So, we see these circular rooms in front of us, and this is kind of where that family clan unit maintained its sovereignty or independence. Without looking at that wall over there, who knows what these rooms are called? Yes.
Kiva.
Kiva, exactly. So the kiva, and who knows what the significance of the kiva is?
Ceremony gathering.
Ceremony gathering.
Oh, ceremony gathering.
So it's the ceremonial gathering place. Now, as we mentioned before, this place would have had roofs on it. If you've been to Spruce Tree House, you'll notice there's one key difference between this kiva and the kivas, well, 3 of the kivas down at Spruce Tree House. Anybody know what that is?
Seem deeper.
Maybe a little deeper.
And one was covered.
Yeah, they would have had roofs on them. So this would have been an enclosed space. We noticed the 6 pilasters around the outside here. Knowing that the people were as in tune to the world around them as they were, there is a theory of thought that the 6 pilasters, because we see that in even larger kivas, are corresponding to the 4 cardinal directions plus up and down. Okay? And these pilasters not only served a symbolic purpose, but they also were functional. That's where the roof started. So that roof was quite thick. How the people would have built the roof was laying a timber across here and continuing around. And then on the next layer, they would lay the timber across those 2 logs that they had put on there. So we have kind of an upside-down basket shape. If anybody's familiar with Lincoln logs or something, kind of something basket-shaped here. And if you think about it as a bowl basket, pretty neat, because we know they were fantastic basket weavers and fantastic potters. So we have this kind of domed shape here, with a little extra space around the outside. It would have filled that space in with yucca branches, the fibers from the trees, until it was flat, and then put a nice layer of plaster over the top of it, leaving a square hole in the middle. It would have had a ladder running down into it, and that was the exit and entrance into your kiva. The 2 kivas behind you are kind of unique because they have a tunnel running between them, and the kiva on the far side actually has a tunnel running up into this tower here at the end. It's unusual. So, the kiva. I'd like to direct your attention to that circular, the big circle in the middle of the floor there. Anybody know what that, the purpose of that is?
Fire pit.
Fire pit, exactly. So we have a fire pit inside of a enclosed room.
Uh-oh.
Any problems anybody's picking up on?
Yes, smoke inhalation.
Carbon monoxide, smoke, lots of smoke. If these people had lived past their 35th birthday, they would have likely had respiratory issues later in life. But they were very ingenious, and they took care of that problem. How did they do that? So if you look below this guy with his hand raised there, you'll notice a small hole opening. It actually comes down into kind of a fireplace little opening right here. Now we know the fire pit was there, so that was not the fireplace. That was the fresh air intake. So as the kiva heats up, the cooler air on the outside is drawn through that narrow passageway and picks up speed and comes rushing into the kiva. Now we have a fire in an enclosed space. The men were doing their weavings and whatnot, and we have a lot of air rushing onto our little fire in there. Any other problems you have? Embers blown everywhere. Maybe your fire blows out. So they constructed these little walls in front of that entryway. Archaeologists call that a deflector wall. And what that means is as the air comes in, it hits that wall and is dispersed in a circular pattern around the kiva, creating a wonderful updraft. And that air is carried right up out of the square entry and exit points. Okay? So we know that kiva served a ceremonial function. You'll notice little cubby holes and these little low benches around the outside. They would have maybe put masks. The whole area would have been plastered over and painted very beautifully. And they would have had their religious ceremonial practices in here. We noticed this other little small kind of golf cup sized hole right here. That is a very important space for the ancestral belief system. Call that the Sipapu. And if you have any questions about that, I encourage you to ask me afterwards, okay? Alright, so we know ceremonies were happening in here, but we also know that these rooms are very functional. The men did their weavings in here. The flat top space was a fantastic place for doing other activities. It would have supported a lot of weight on the roof. Maybe dances were had here. Maybe people had conversations and lived in their community with each other, right in this little space here. Okay. The Tower-Kiva relationship we've noticed, talked about a little bit earlier. At this point in time, I would like to give you guys about 10 minutes to kind of look around this level, take some photos, filter around here, peek up in, look at the partial remaining flooring. There's beautiful pictographs in there and stuff. And that concludes my formal tour. Thank you guys for visiting the park. You've been a fantastic group. When you are feeling ready to leave, the exit will be